Good morning. It is nice Sunday morning, about 9 a.m., and I've mixed up some spices. What do I have in here? Well, I've got some salt, some coarse ground black pepper. I've got some brown sugar, some chili powder, a little bit of a hot spicy paprika, dehydrated onion, including onion powder, garlic powder. There's some dehydrated chives in there. And what else did I put in there? I think I threw everything that I could in there. Oh, I put some cumin in there, some ground cumin. And yeah, that was pretty much what I did. I used sea salt, by the way, in there. And this is all mixed up. And then we're going to put this on our brisket. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? This is a 4-pound brisket. It's not very big. It does have a little bit of fat on it. Now I'm going to rub these spices all over it very generously. Just pour lots of it on there and pat it in and rub it in really good. And I'm going to do the same thing on the fatty part. And we're going to put this outside in our little smoker, which we're getting ready right now, and hoping that it will be super nice and hot, and that we can put this in the smoker and have it in there for about 4 hours. It's 4 pounds, so I'm thinking 1 hour per pound. We'll see. We'll check it as we go along without disturbing it too much, and then I'll let you know how it all comes out. Okay, here we have Old Smoky ready. It is smoking. You can't see the smoke in the camera, but it is nice, kind of a blue-gray smoke. We've got our temperature ready. The temperature's already at 400 actually, so it's actually going to grill a little bit, and then we're going to let it cool off and let it smoke a little. The brisket, we're going to barbecue it first, and then we're going to be smoking for the rest of the 4 hours that we intend on putting this brisket in there. All right, let's look at these briquettes. As you can see, they're nice and ashy, and these are mesquite hardwood briquettes, and they're ready to go. We're going to go get our brisket. And here's the brisket. It's been sitting here for 30 minutes with all these nice seasonings on it that I rubbed in. Like I said, this brisket is only, just a little over 4 pounds. And I rinsed it off really well before I started putting all these seasonings, and I did them on the top and I did them on the fatty layer on the bottom. This is going to go with the fat layer down onto the grill. All right, we're going to get this brisket set up on top right in the center of our grill. And there we go, fat side down, all the nice seasoning still on it, and then we're just going to cover it and come back in an hour and check it. Okay, so after about 15 minutes, and with the fat side down, it got all these nice grill marks, and the fat has seared and kind of locked itself onto the brisket. I've turned it over, and I've moved the briquettes around a little bit to kind of cool off the temperature a little bit. Here we go. This is better. Get a little shadow on there so we don't have so much sun reflecting. So now you can see that the brisket has been turned over, and now it will now cook in there in a little bit of a lower temperature for a long while, and then the fat will then not fall into the briquettes, but rather back into the brisket. This is a beef brisket, by the way. It falls back into the brisket, keeping it nice and juicy. As you saw, it didn't have a lot of fat around it, so I don't want to trim it. Once it's cooked to the point where I want it, the internal temperature should be like 165, around that point. But of course, 4 hours of smoking should be good. Or actually, some of the time we'll be grilling it actually, and then it'll be smoking for the rest of the time. And I plan on putting a chicken in here, so I'll let you know how that goes. Okay, so here I have the brisket. Now it's covered in foil. What I did is we removed it from the grill because it was getting really hot, and the fire was burning there in the charcoal. So we removed it off the fire, wrapped it in foil, let it rest for about 30 minutes also while the fire doused down, and now there's just heat in the smoker. And put the brisket back on there, and we're going to cover it up and let it continue with its smoking. All right, so now I have this chicken, and it's a nice big chicken, and I've rinsed it off, patted it dry, and taken off a little bit of the little fatty bits that were here on the end, and taken out the neck and giblets and such. And I've put it in some foil, and I'm going to use the same seasoning mix that I used on my brisket, and I am going to put this all over my chicken, on the top and the bottom. I'm going to keep this in this foil. I'm going to rub it into the skin, some of it underneath. I'm going to lift this up, create a cavity inside under this, and pour some of these seasonings also inside of there. And just get it all over, put it on the legs, on the wing part, everything covered up real nice with the foil. And then I'm going to put this out there with a brisket on the smoker, and just let it slowly cook in there for about an hour. Well, I'm going to be checking it and seeing how it does. And while that brisket is also in there, the brisket's still got a while to go. So this is why I'm putting the chicken in there now, because I am seeing how long it's really going to have to take for my chicken to be fully cooked. And I will be checking it through the drumstick part, making sure it's all clear and cooked. So now I'm going to just continue putting in the rest of all of the seasoning onto my chicken, rub it in, like I said, under the skin, wrap it up really well with the foil, and then I'm going to go put it on the grill. All right, the brisket and the chicken are both out of the smoker. They've been there for 4 hours, maybe a little bit longer. I will take the brisket and turn it over. The fatty layer is now at the bottom, and I'm going to remove the fatty layer, and then I'm going to slice it. And of course, I've got this yummy chicken. Let's look at it. Look at that. That looks so good. Perfectly done. And the skin, wait, I can't cut it because I'm doing it with one hand. There we go. I'm going to take a little piece out of that. It's really juicy. I can't get it. That's not the way to do it. Little tiny piece. It's really very juicy. You can't really tell too well, but it's nice and juicy, so it's nice and moist. I'm going to be removing it off of here in a little bit, but I'm letting them rest for a little bit, making sure that when I do cut into them, I don't get all them juices running out of it. So I'm just letting it rest, letting some of those juices get reabsorbed into the meat, and then I will slice it up and show you what I do with it. All right, I've got my brisket all sliced up, and it was so tender. It was basically falling apart on me and creating these little bits, which is going to be awesome because I'm going to put them in a sandwich with some barbecue sauce. I've got some pineapples on there, as you can see, because I used the juice of the in the pineapple in the can, and I heated it up with a little bit of brown sugar, and then I added a pre-made barbecue sauce, which is Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce in the, let's see, what flavor is it? I think it's sweet and spicy. So then this is what I'm going to put in my sandwiches also. So I'm just going to dip it right now. My brisket, a little bit of pineapple. I got some of that under my nail. That's not dirt. Anyway, here we go. Dipping it in. Hot, delicious. Let me try that. So tender, so good. It cooked perfectly in that grill smoker. It all turned out great. It was 4 hours in there. Like I said, I had it on there on a grill It was really hot. I seared the fat, turned it around so the fat would then be on the top. And that was the first 30 minutes. And then the fat could then melt into the meat, make it juicy rather than have the meat fall into my grill. So then after another 30 minutes, I took it out because it was really hot in there. It was over 400 degrees. So we needed that smoker or grill to cool off, so then it would just be a smoker at keeping it just above 265 degrees. And that's what we tried to maintain it at. Even though it would get hot, then we would just open it up and let it cool off, and then we would put it. This is our first trial at this, and anyway, I ended up wrapping up the brisket in foil, let it rest for 30 minutes while we allowed the grill to cool off, and we put it back on the grill, and 3 more hours of slow and low cooking, smoking, and it has a delicious smoky mesquite flavor to it because we use that mesquite briquettes. And then of course, if you want to put some sort of barbecue sauce, that's up to you. It is delicious just as it is. It is nice and juicy and really super tender. It was only a 4-pound brisket, so that's why it only took 4 hours. And the way that I estimated, it was an hour per pound. And of course the chicken, look at that. We've already bitten it, cut into it because we had to taste it. It was so good. Here's a little piece here. Look how good that is. It's just perfectly cooked, just delicious. I hope that you will try this on for yourself. If you want to use just a regular grill, go for it. If not, try a smoker and play with it. Get something small so that you don't mess it up if it doesn't work out. But you know what? We thought we were going to mess it up, and it turned out really well. We were just being patient with it, and decided that we weren't going to give up on it, and it came out so good. And of course, adding the chicken in there was just in case we needed a savior, and that chicken and the brisket is going to make an awesome dinner for ourselves and my parents. I hope you enjoyed this little quick trial tutorial. If you have any ideas or any comments on how you make your brisket, you want to let us know what better tricks and suggestions you have, go ahead and put them in the comments. Please like the video. Please subscribe as well, and enjoy.